Welcome back. Brace the hammer. This is the weekend preview. This is our Thanksgiving special episode. It's a new shortened version. We're excited to bring it to you. Last week, we had some awesome predictions. And by awesome, I mean I won again, which is totally weird. There are some new improvements. I have donned the West Ham sweatshirt. I'm not a converted man, but I am trying. So, yeah, I had 4 wins last week. I believe Tommy came in second, the newbie with 3. And Charlie, you're moving up in the ranks. You got 2 correct. And Georgia kind of bit the bullet. I only had 1. What do you, sorry, Sox, have to say about for yourselves?
Listen, I told you I'm coming up. I'm coming
Again,
up to
with
the underdog
turtle,
story.
the turtle analogy.
It's happening. It's happening. We're making our way forward, mate. This is it. 3 more weeks, John. You got to watch your back now. 3 more weeks, and
I will say the only reason Tom came in second is because he went against his boys, and I have this on video of him picking Spurs to win 2-1. So that's the only thing that separated him from you, Charlie. You stayed loyal, and because of that, you got burned.
I'll continue to get burned. It's fine. I'm loyal, unlike Thomas, who is a traitor and a thief and a liar.
No, mate, I'm not a West Ham fan. I don't know what you're on about.
That's a pretty. I'd say that's a pretty accurate characterization of Tom. Moving forward, big weekend. We just came from a big weekend. We had a big Champions League week. Some surprises, some disappointments, some heartache. Mostly speaking for myself. But that kind of opens up to our first match of the week. So we're at Stamford Bridge, Spurs, Chelsea. This week, Pochettino decided not to put his best team against Monaco in the Champions League because he was trying to save them against Chelsea. Was that a wise move? Are we blaming Poch for the first? I've never put anything bad on Poch before, but I feel like, what are you doing, mate? What's going on? Anybody thoughts? George, I'm sure you have something to say.
Yeah, you should blame the. I mean, like, don't follow your bigger brother's Arsenal, but and put everything on the coach. But you should definitely give him a little bit of a blame for for that Monaco loss, because I think it was his choice, and he picks the lineup. It's not like the players come together and decide, like, oh yeah, he's going to put in 100% effort. No, I'm going to save myself for the weekend. No, they get Poch's orders and they do what he tells them to. And that's what I have to say about it. Like, I mean, I don't agree with like all these Arsenal fans who like put all the blame on Wenger, because it's not always on him. But it's definitely partly their decision.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. He puts out the lineup.
I mean, it's definitely partly his fault, that the result. It's not all on the players, like it's not all on the manager as well. But they should share the blame.
I blame the caretakers of Monaco's field. I don't know if anybody caught the match, but it was horrible. I got a golf course behind my house, which looks eerily similar. There are divots everywhere. There are old men running around. I don't know what's happening. It was just an embarrassment for everybody. But I guess that kind of takes us to this game this weekend. It's kind of the rematch of the of last year when Chelsea broke Spurs fans' hearts and took us out of contention for the league title. We racked up 9 yellow cards. I think we created a new record for that. We saw Dembele do a little eye gouging on Costa. We saw Dyer slide tackling left and right just for fun. I don't know what was happening. All I do know is that this weekend's going to be fun. This is going to be an exciting match to watch. Tempers will probably flare, especially after the Champions League loss. What do we think? I'm going to start with you, Charlie.
Yeah, it was the match where Tottenham completely went off the boil in just the most spectacular way I've seen in a while. Yeah, no comment. It's going to be. I think Pochettino. I wouldn't blame him totally, because this is going to be a really, really ridiculously difficult match. Chelsea are obviously horrendously informed, more than I would have thought possible at the beginning of the season. They've been amazing. And as far as I know, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think they have any major injuries either. This is a full
Chelsea?
strength.
No, Chelsea has no. They're playing at full strength, unlike Tottenham.
Yeah, exactly. This is a full strength Chelsea side who are 5 wins from 5. They are like full force. They've not conceded. They are full force coming at you. So, you know, it was unfortunate what happened to Tottenham in the week for Tottenham fans, not for us, but for Tottenham fans. But I can't blame him too much. Like, it's going to be a really, really hard fought game. I don't expect Tottenham to do what they did last year and completely go off the boil, but it is going to be by far your toughest game in the season so far. I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Nothing would irritate me more. Tommy, go ahead.
Do you know what? I'll add to the fact of Poch on Wednesday night. I think it's quite frustrating when you have a manager, when you work so hard during the season to get into obviously winning the Premier League, but if to get into a European competition and then to play a secondary team, because you kind of feel like, well, why have you fought all season long, to get into the Champions League? Because that was their probably first and foremost aim last year. It probably wasn't winning the title. And then to throw it away in the fashion that they did against Monaco, I thought it was very, very strange. I know we were the same with going out of Europe. We almost said, well, what's the point? Why have we fought so hard all year to get 7th place if we're going to just chuck it away against a pub team from Romania, sorry. So I think it was very strange of him to do that. I can understand why he's got one eye on the Chelsea game at the weekend, because, you know, he obviously wants to pick wins up in the league because that's what they've not been doing recently. And it is going to be a tough game. It's a Chelsea side that have now won 6 on the bounce. They haven't conceded in all those 6 games. And, you know, they put in another imperious away performance against Middlesbrough at the weekend. I think David Luiz was absolutely fantastic for them. Costa is proving why he was signed at Chelsea in the first place as a world-class striker. And unfortunately for Pochettino, I've got Chelsea winning 2-1 this weekend. And I don't see them picking up a result, especially if they played the way they did against West Ham, because I think that West Ham were unlucky at the end of the day not just to hold on and grab a point. So I've got this one, Chelsea 2-1.
Georgia?
I'm going to say 1-0 Chelsea, just because I don't think Spurs are giving up more than 1 goal. I still have faith in your defense, even though I actively root against them. But I think they're really solid. And is Toby? What's the word on Toby? Is he coming back?
That's the key, right? They haven't said yes or no yet. And
I mean, still,
with Toby, Spurs are top 3 defense in the league. Without him, they're susceptible.
But like Wimmer and what's his face? Vertonghen. Is Vertonghen?
Vertonghen, yeah.
Yeah, they're both. I mean, I was just checking whether they're both healthy. I know that
they both are.
They both are. Okay, cool. They're really good. I mean, is Danny Rose going to play? Because I know.
No, he's not. He after his second yellow, he'll be missing that match. So we're going to see more of Kevin Trippier, which is probably not going to be fun for anybody.
Yeah, Kieran Trippier. I don't know. He looked like a great player in a couple matches last year. I remember like he got like I'm gonna relate this back to FIFA, but he got a team of the week, and
unbelievable.
Unreal.
Team of the week. But I don't know. I just even Chelsea are scary, man. They're really scary. They haven't conceded in 5. They haven't conceded until they conceded 3 against us, or since they conceded 3 against us.
They haven't conceded in 6 matches now. They haven't conceded a goal.
A single goal, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'll tell you what though, Middlesbrough came close a couple times, so maybe they're just getting lucky, and people are giving them a little bit too much credit. So David Luiz has been playing out of his skin. I will say that, but I don't know who lines up alongside him. Is it Marcos Alonso and then who's the other one?
Cahill and Azpilicueta, Moses and Alonso they had against Middlesbrough. I mean, even Victor Moses, to add to that, Victor Moses was probably one of the man of the matches for the Middlesbrough game. Yeah, I don't even understand how he's played so well over on that right-hand side. I don't know, but it's just reignited his career and he's playing amazing football. And it is so frustrating to see, first and foremost, as a West Ham fan, but you're pleased for him that he's managed to finally find his feet in a Chelsea team he's been waiting to get into for the last 4 years. So double-edged sword, really. Yeah.
But yeah, to round out my analysis, I think Chelsea. It's gonna be a hard-fought game. I definitely don't think. I mean, Spurs are unbeaten. This might just be their first loss. I wish that were us, but
yeah, I kind of just not that I disagree. I just feel like You know how we always talk about that one match every week that you just know is going to end in a draw? I feel like this is that match of the week. For whatever reason and for whatever it's worth, and this isn't like my Spurs bias, but they do have the most points in a derby going back like 3 years. So for whatever it is, when they play another London team, they seem to just step it up. Given the annoying and disastrous result from last year, I feel like they're going to go into this game with fire. Poch, he rested his players. He rested Jan Vertonghen in this game in preparation for Chelsea. This is how much it means to him and the rest of the team to win this game. So I feel like you're going to see a lot of heart. I feel like you're going to see a lot of play. But at the end of the day, and I really don't want to say this, I feel like it's going to be a draw, but I cannot go down on record as saying it's going to be a draw. So I'm actually going to say 2-1 Spurs.
Nothing would excite me more than a draw.
Yeah. I think everybody would feel that way.
Also, just before we move on, they have conceded. It was to us in the cup when we beat them 2-1. Also, let's say Pochettino, as much as he may have fluffed it in the midweek, that's with a vision to going at this game full force, and so it's not going to be a rollover by any stretch of the imagination. But we did score 2 against them, so it's possible. It's possible. I'm just putting it out there. We definitely did
that. You're right. And normally when I throw those numbers around, it's usually Premier League statistics, but absolutely right and well said. We're going to the Emirates for Arsenal, Bournemouth. Has there been a more fun team to watch, maybe Watford, than Bournemouth this year? There's something to be said about them. They're great. They're a lot of fun. Arsenal, just like David Luiz we were just talking about, are playing out of their skin. They're really, really, really good. And they're really, really scary, and it's hard for me to say that as a Spurs fan. So, Georgia, I'm kicking it right off to you. What can we expect here?
Well, there's a lot of vitriol on Twitter, and Twitter is such a rank place to be during an Arsenal match. I mean, I don't know why, but I follow Piers Morgan just so I can get my juices flowing. I think he tweeted out today that Arsene Wenger should stop actually, let me pull it up. But yeah, we're playing really well. I mean, we went down against PSG today. I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about today's Champions League match because it's the most recent evidence that we have of
please do.
And we're recording this Wednesday night, and it just happened this afternoon. But we played absolutely terribly the first half. I had to go get my driver's license renewed, and I told my dad, I was like, yeah, Arsenal's playing, but I'm going to leave because this is not enjoyable for me to watch. So I left, and I came back later. But it was just not good. They weren't playing well, but they're still getting results, which is what that everyone calls that a championship mentality, right? Even when you're down and out, you're still in the game, and that's what gives me a lot of hope. And I want to point this out, but Piers Morgan tweeted after the game. I'll pull up the exact tweet, but it was something like Arsene Wenger should stop pretending I got it now.
No, this is riveting. Go ahead.
He said we're not as good as Wenger keeps pretending we are. And I responded, we're also not as bad as you keep pretending we are. Because people when they think of Arsenal, they just think, oh, wins. But these draws, they come back, they come back helping. They help us out later in the season. At the end, they are drop points, but it's also better than a loss. And because we look down and out, and even against United, 89th minute, I believe that was the first goal we scored against Mourinho, a Mourinho team since 2007.
Well, they looked a little flat until then, didn't they? I actually got up early to watch that game.
Yeah, I don't.
Bad decision.
I know.
It still won't be as bad as Manchester United Liverpool a couple weeks ago.
That was horrible.
Horrible. Yeah, the build up to this game was pretty intense. Wenger, Mourinho, whatever. But it ended up being kind of they just look so flat. But you know what I really like? Chamberlain at right back, because Jenkinson clearly wasn't doing the trick. So he brought on Chamberlain, and that ended up paying dividends because he was the one who lofted in that ball for Giroud to rise and head in. So I like what he's doing there. I like how he's switching some of the things up. There's definitely some new stuff. There's something different every game. Today, it will be started every single Champions League match, but it's cool to see such a young player get the nod from Wenger. You know, I like the direction we're going. I'm not as pessimistic as everyone else on Twitter.
Give me a score.
2-0.
That's a good score. Historically, over the last year, they've won 2-0 in both of their visits, and I don't see any reason for that to change. They have looked a little flat, but they've also looked really good when they're on. When they're firing on all cylinders, they're one of the best teams ever. So I'm with you, and I hate to say it, but I'm going 2-0 over Bournemouth. As much as I love seeing Bournemouth and Watford and all these teams play well, gonna have to go with
Middlesbrough this season. You know, you said that you called those two as some of the more exciting teams, but I like watching Middlesbrough because Dalmatar.
Yeah, Borough. I usually put them. I lost my headphone. I usually put them up there with Bournemouth and Watford as well. They're fun to watch, surprising to watch. But Charlie.
Yeah, I really like Bournemouth as well. I also love the fact that Arsenal have done exactly what we did last season in that Jenkinson wasn't doing it, and so they just lobbed a right mid at right back. What a lad. Get Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, could be the new Mikel Antonio, who knows? But I like Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth is super fun. I really like them a lot. I like the way they run. I like their manager. I like a lot of their team. I like the fact they got Junior Stanislas in there. I just like Bournemouth a lot. But unfortunately, as Shaw just said, you know, Arsenal is still getting results even when they're playing bad. Again, a lot like us last season when we had all of those players out, Lanzini, Payet, everyone, we were just grinding out those draws. And that's why we finished so high up the table at the end of the season. Whereas now we're just losing instead. And so I can't see Arsenal not at least getting a point. Because I think even if they play bad, Giroud, in the last minute, just something will happen. So I'm going to go with, I don't want to copy, but I'm going 2-1 Arsenal as well. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal as well. Did I cut out the end there?
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize that. Tommy, you're up, buddy.
Okay, so I'm like Charlie. I love Bournemouth. Love the fact that Stanislas is in their ex-West Ham product. We won't forget him for his immense goal against Millwall in the Carling Cup back in the day, and celebrating in front of the Millwall fans. But no, I think Bournemouth are a brilliant team. Got a lot of young players. Wilson, King, Stanislas, Cook, Charlie Daniels. I mean, they've got a foundation for a great team in a few years to come, and they've been good this season. A lot better than I think last season. Eddie Howe has got them cemented in the Premier League. He kept them in the Premier League. That was their first aim last season, was to stay up, and they've done that. And now they can build on that. Unfortunately for them, you know, they're going to an Arsenal team that, you know, I know they got a draw against PSG today, but you know, that are free scoring at the minute, and they are playing really well. But having said that, they were awful for 90 minutes against Manchester United. They were absolutely woeful. They didn't even have a shot on target, I don't think, until the second half when Giroud scored. And it was just a lackluster performance. But I think I don't want to criticise Jenkinson because I thought he had a good game against Man United for the first 45 minutes. But I don't know if that was because he was actually playing well, or the fact that Anthony Martial hasn't been seen yet this season in a United shirt. But bringing Oxlade-Chamberlain on, like we had for Antonio at right back, it does work out, especially if you can get forward and get wide, and obviously provided the assist for the goal. So I think Arsenal at home, they're too much for Bournemouth, and I see. I'm not trying to copy him. I'm going 2-0 Arsenal as well. So yeah, I think it's an easy win.
Yeah, no, I mean history kind of speaks for itself. So I'm not surprised that everybody's on the same page there, even though I feel like, except for Georgia, we're all secretly going to be rooting for Bournemouth. Yeah, it's got to be Arsenal.
I mean, I think Ozil's going to have a great game because he.
I know this is what I mean. You've just reminded me, because the other day, you know, people always said, "Oh, Dimitri Payet doesn't show up in the big games." Where the hell was Ozil the other day? He did not. He wasn't seen for 90 minutes. He was awful.
He megged Michael Carrick once, and that was it. So,
yeah, and he was awful for 90 minutes. And the players that you think you can count on for games like that, and he didn't produce. And I think that was a bit suspect. But they'll definitely need him to be stepping up if they're going to be.
We're in kind of a rut right now. I just don't. I don't get it. But you know, we're still getting the draw, man. Like, I mean, that when Giroud's header went in against, I'm so happy for that draw. Like it
I think the only thing I will say quickly, I guess, before we move on, is that you have to be, I think, careful. Although, yes, you can pick up draws in the Premier League and you'll be there at the end of the season, I don't think that's good enough this year, because you've seen with Chelsea picking up 6 wins on the bounce, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs. One of those teams could pick up 6, 7 wins on the row, and all of a sudden, well, you've been left behind because you've been picking up draws. And I think that is point case for Tottenham, who have been picking up draws, and slowly the gap is starting to appear. And I think this season, with the caliber of teams that are in there,
they're on 24 points right now. So like the gap kind of like, I mean, I think everyone's just nicking points off each other. If anything, I think it's United who's been, kind of left behind, because there's a 5-point gap between Spurs and United, and everyone's sort of in like the I don't know, mid to upper 20s. Yeah, so they're like Chelsea's on 28, I believe, and then there's 27.
Yeah, 28, and then through Tottenham at 24, and that's the
27, 27, 25 or something like that, and then 24. So
what's interesting is Everton is now tied with Man United, which makes the next matchup even more interesting. To kind of segue that way, is that they're playing in Southampton against St. Mary's, and we've spoken about this before. But Tom, I don't know if you were here. It's remarkable, and we've always mentioned how remarkable it is that year in and year out, no matter who gets cherry picked out of Southampton, they're still always there. They're constantly in the top 10. We don't even know, like, what do you even attribute that to? It's you could take away their coach, you could take away their players, but they're still there to play every single week. And if you look at their last few games, it's not like they've held Liverpool to a goalless draw. The only fluke loss was against Hull City 2-1. They held Man City to a 1-1 draw. They beat Burnley, which isn't really impressive, but I mean they win the games they should win, and if anything, they just draw the games that they shouldn't win, which keeps them kind of in the table. But what do you make against an Everton side, especially in Southampton?
I said the other day in the last sort of podcast thing, I said that Southampton is a tough place to go to, but I thought Liverpool had too much for them. But they probably proved a lot of people wrong, that they can actually hold out for a draw. I think Virgil van Dijk is the most underrated defender in the Premier League. I think he's absolutely immense, and I think whoever is head of recruiting at Southampton needs a raise. He needs a raise. He needs a cold pint and a pat on the back, because the past few years he's unearthed some absolute gems, and they have also one of the best academies in football, not only in the UK but in the world. Some of the players they brought through, like Bale, we know that, like Walcott, but players like Ward-Prowse, Stephen Davis, people like that have come through the system and are playing for them now, and they really, as a team, have gelled so well over the past few years. And like you said, it doesn't matter who leaves, they're always there. They're a tight knit group. But no,
Pachi was there.
Koeman, all of them, and I genuinely I put it down to whoever is in charge of picking up those signings every year, because, like I said, I think this season they signed Højbjerg from Bayern Munich, and I think that is a fantastic signing. Like, he would slip under the radar, but he's been so good for them. Names like Jordi Classy, who may not get a mention at first, taking a punt on Nathan Redmond. I know Gonzo from Hammer's chat absolutely loved Redmond and would have loved him at West Ham, and I think it's true. I think Redmond is a fantastic little prospect, and I think they're willing to offer these chances to people that potentially not other teams would look at. Like, I think even Cedric, who they signed at right back, he was a revelation last season. And I just think almost similar to Leicester, where they have, signed players like Kante and Mahrez for cheap prices. I think they've done the same thing, but I don't think they found the right manager to gel them and stay there long enough, or keep hold of those players that have signed for Liverpool for 20 million. But I think if they'd managed to do that, and they still had the likes of Lallana and people like that, they might be somewhere near the top. But full credit, I've got this one as my 1-1 banker draw at the weekend. I think Everton were held by a lowly Swansea side, who actually, to be fair, played very well. But I just think they were on the crest of the wave, and they've kind of come off a bit, and they haven't managed to pick up since the win against us. So I've got this one at 1-1. All
right, Georgia, we're going to you.
I think Charlie speaks. Sorry, not Charlie. Tom. Tom speaks. I agree with everything you said, because they would, if they retained all their players, they'd be like a very deep squad, because you think about like all the players they've lost. Wanyama, they lost Luke Shaw a couple of years ago. Luke Shaw, Ricky Lambert was gone, but also Adam Lallana, Mane, who.
Can you imagine that team right now if they didn't lose anybody? What they would look like?
From like the year they started playing well. So like that was the year where Lallana had like, and they still have. Jay Rodriguez is still there. He's not really like. The 2013-14 season, he was playing out of his he was playing. He had like 17 goals by March or something like that, and then he sort of like dropped off, and injuries have kind of kept him out. But he had like England call-ups like for the World Cup. Like people were talking about how this kid, they're obviously overhyping him.
So George, I have a quick question for you. Who is to blame then? Let's say if there's someone behind the scenes, a recruiter, whoever it is, bringing in these semi-genius managers. They're bringing in these players who are all turning out to be first team all-stars on other teams, but they keep leaving. Are we blaming the guys signing the checks? Are we blaming the chairman? Who are we blaming for not keeping these people here?
I don't know who you blame, because it's kind of like Southampton's. It's just something that they have to deal with, because the reason they play so well is because, I think, as Tom said, they bring in these guys and they give them the opportunities, to play top flight football in England, like Højbjerg, like Redmond. And so when they go out and try to get someone else who's like kind of like a hidden gem, like Sofiane Boufal is great. He was awesome. And when I heard that he was going to Southampton, I was like, excuse me, he could have gone to a way better club. But it speaks to the identity of the club and how much they're willing to like offer these players so that they can kind of it's almost like they offer them a position at like a feeder club, because that's kind of what they are right now. But eventually they kind of have to break that mold and be like, no, we want you to like be a long-term player at Southampton. Unfortunately, like they've only been in the Premier League 4 years now, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon, or let's hope not. Or I don't know. I don't know why I said let's hope not, but like I wish that.
I remember when their biggest rival was like Portsmouth. So
yeah, exactly.
I think those days have changed, huh?
I think as well. For at the end of the day, money speaks, and
yeah.
You know what? If I was Southampton and it had not just a chance to develop the football club, put money back into the academies, put money into these recruitment agents, like it has done so well over the past few years. Don't forget, even they probably cashed in on the sale on percentage from Gareth Bale. They just seem like a very clever football club with men behind the scenes that know what they're doing. And if they can pick up a 25 million profit on Shaw, Lallana, pump that back in, and still manage to sign great players for less money, they're doing a fantastic job.
Something right, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Georgia, I never got a score from you.
Yeah. Also, I do want to point out that look at their defense. They have a really good defense. Bertrand, what's his name? Bertrand, Fonte, Van Dijk, and Cedric. Like that's a top 5 defense in my opinion. And they lost Klein a couple of years ago to Liverpool. So
they're not doing so bad up front either. Between Charlie Austin and Shane Long, someone's scoring goals. Yeah.
Southampton, Everton. I'm going to give Southampton the win here, 2-1.
I actually agree with you. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think we're going to see a lot of defense. I think for me, this is my exciting game of the week, and I went 3-2. Southampton. Charlie, hit us with the good stuff.
Yeah, you say who's to blame. I don't want to say this because it actually hurts. It hurts deep down, but they remind me so much of Tottenham a couple of years ago. Too well run,
Jesus,
for their own good. Like Tottenham, they had players like Bale coming through, people like Modric coming out of nowhere, and then they're just selling them on for big profit, and then just bringing in more players who are working. They're investing in their academy. All their academy players are coming through. People like Bentaleb, Mason, people like that. They were just coming through and replacing these people in the first team, and then you're selling them and making money. Like Southampton in 4 years' time, maybe, could quite easily be in the position Tottenham are now, in just a ridiculously well-run club who've bought and spent really well in the market, just really steady progress. No, like trying to overreach themselves like some clubs do. Just slow and steady progress, building a really good side. I look at someone like you just said, like Boufal coming in. How did they pull that off? Wanyama coming in. How did they pull that off? hell did Tottenham get Lloris? How the hell did they get Eriksen for the money they did? Like,
Well, they
they are
sold
slowly getting
Bale
there.
and Modric, and they got a boatload.
Well,
of
yeah,
money.
but I mean, but the money they spent on them wasn't even that much.
No, it wasn't.
Like Eriksen was a guy everyone knew about in Europe. Everyone. Like, people
You
like
know what's funny? I
Barcelona.
remember nobody expected him to actually go to Tottenham.
This is what I mean. Lloris, the exact same situation. He was destroying it. Everyone goes, oh yeah, he's going to end up like one of the huge clubs. He ends up at Tottenham, no disrespect, but that is the fact of what happened. Like, it happened.
Sure. Yeah,
It's-
I agree.
And the same thing is happening with Southampton. And it pains me to say this because us and Southampton, we came up at the same time. Us as being West Ham, we came up at the same time. And like, I despise how well run they are because it just annoys me so much to see us flounder and struggle, and to just see Southampton, who were below us when we went down, who were below the Sullivan's ticker. They're in League One, Sullivan and Brady and all that. And then they came up to the Championship when we dropped down. Then they got promoted again with us, ahead of us. Like, they're just so well run. They're so well run. And this is going to be a super exciting match.
I think
give me a
from
score.
fans. Sorry, go on. No,
Charlie, before we go to Tom, go ahead and give me a score. What do you got?
I'm going to say 2-2.
Go with the draw. All right, Tommy.
I think last point. I think from a fan's perspective, it can be frustrating. Like I do understand that personally, from a West Ham fan's point of view. Like imagine that West Ham academy of Rio Ferdinand, Lampard, Carrick, Joe Cole. Imagine that with this year's money, we'd be raking in millions. Like, and I can understand when it doesn't get reinvested back like us, and you see the pain that we had after they left for all those years digging down in the Championship and the post Canio era and how bad it was for us. So I do understand from a fan's perspective it can be frustrating, but I think there might come a point in the next few years where they just say, hang on a minute, we do need to start retaining these guys. You know, if you're so good at picking them, we need to start retaining them and offering them lucrative deals of what they want to stay to ward off interest from these big boys coming in and stopping them. So there you go.
Yeah, and another quick point to make, Everton hasn't really been in the best of form. They got walloped by Chelsea, and they drew against Swansea. So poor Bob Bradley can't seem to catch a break. So they're not really playing that well. They're in same areas, and I just don't see this working out well for them. I think this is when they start finally dropping mid-table. Moving on to our highlight of the week, Manchester United. We're in Old Trafford. West Ham. Mourinho's won 7 out of these last 9 competitions. But at the same time, Manchester really hasn't been playing that well either. Take away the draw from Arsenal, they've been disappointing in almost every single result, and a lot of West Ham fans are saying this might be the make or break game for this season. Is it too early for that? Are we being dramatic, Tommy?
No, I said it on the Hammers Chat review for Spurs this week. I said if he loses this weekend, I think he might have cooked his goose. I think he might be gone. I'm not one for Bilic out, but like I said on the review, I said it's whatever happens. But there comes a point when enough is enough, and he's taken the squad as far as he comes. And this is a vital game this weekend. And it pains me to say it, but I don't think we're going to win either. And it really, really pains me to say that. I will be there at Manchester at the weekend and again on Wednesday for the EFL Cup game, but I just don't see us getting past a United team that, yes, has struggled, but we're without Winston Reid for this game. Nordveit, never going to be seen, like I said in an article this week, never going to be seen in the West Ham shirt, most likely. So that means that Calamity James Collins comes back in. And I just don't see us dealing with Zlatan Ibrahimovic well. I think having Michael Carrick back in the team this weekend, playing in that defensive role in front of the 2 centre-backs, he was immense. I think the 2 wing-backs, especially if Antonio is playing at right wing-back, they've got Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia, who also have been standouts for United this season, could tear us apart. And I just think, any team that has the world's record signing in it always has a chance, and he can switch it on when he likes and how he likes. And I see us struggling. And I think the only way that we can get out of this game with a result is if the big players show up. And I know that Payet had a better game the other day and Lanzini did play well in centre mid, but we have to leave them on and they have to be focused 110% of the time, because too many times this season we built a lead, like the 2-0 against Watford, for example, and we just slipped back and let it go. And that's when they are on form, and then they just get disinterested. And I think they just have to be focused for 90 minutes, see a performance out of Andre Ayew this weekend. I think you have to keep Lanzini in centre mid because he played so well there against Spurs the other day, which unfortunately means that Mark Noble might have to drop to the bench. But I don't think that can be a bad thing because, he hasn't been great this season. And a lot of West Ham fans say, no, he shouldn't be anywhere. He should be in the team. He's Mr. West Ham. But if he takes a break, then so be it. But I can't see us, especially with the way that the striker situation is as well. I'm not even going to get into that. But we're not scoring goals and we're not defending well. And I see this one 2-1 Man United.
I have two questions for you. Is this a game to where we should, or Bill should start looking at maybe switching from the three in the back? Is this the type of match where you start going into more of a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4, maybe even a 4-4-2? And my second question is this a fair assessment for Bilic's job the next three matches? We're looking at Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool away. That's tough for any team, even if you were Chelsea. Is that a fair assessment?
I think the fact is you've got to be talking about your bread and butter games that you know you're going to win. And those are the games that he should have been beating. The games against Watford when he was 2-0 up, the game away to West Brom. These are your bread and butter points that you should be picking up week in, week out. He already proved last season that he could go to the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal at the first game of the season and pick up results against that. I don't understand what can change in that short amount of time. He's still pretty much got the same squad together and the same players who were playing a very high level or were last season. And I think it has to be, it has to lie with Bilic of what's happened. And I think also to answer your point about the formation, it's whether or not he could, Mikel Antonio will have to play at right back. We don't have a right back in the team at the minute because A, they're not fit, or B, they don't like Arbeloa. Some stuff's happened behind the scenes and he's not a part of the squad. Antonio has to play there, but we all know he can't play there. So whatever happens, right wing back or right back, it's still going to be a lose-lose situation for us. So it doesn't matter what formation he goes with at the weekend. It is just having Antonio down there. And if he's got to deal with Rashford, Martial and Ashley Young going down the wing for 90 minutes, he's going to struggle because he wants to get forward too much. And we are our own worst enemy at times, or Slaven Bilic is his own worst enemy because he's too stubborn to change it. And unfortunately for us, that means that we're probably going to lose at the weekend. And over these next couple of games, it will tell, and that might be his job.
Before I go to you, Shorja, where is Sam Byram? Does anybody know?
As far as I'm aware,
I thought it was like a minor injury. It's been like 9 weeks since I've seen him.
Something you will learn is minor injury in West Ham talk means out for maybe 6 months. This just sort of happens. Someone stubbs their toe, they go missing for a couple of weeks. It's sort of the natural thing to happen.
Slaven Bilic doesn't rate him either. He was a signing that Gold or Sullivan wanted. Bilic didn't want him, and he didn't play him. The only reason he had to force to play him was because Carl Jenkinson blew out his knee, and therefore Byram had to come in 5 minutes into the game against Man City and forced his hand almost. So I don't think he wants him there, even if he was fit. So,
but he played well, if I remember.
Yeah, but this is what we don't understand. He played well, but Bilic doesn't rate him for some reason.
This is like what they see in training. Sometimes we don't always get the full assessment. Shorja, where do you rate this match?
Quick question. The match that Sam Byram came in, did they win, or was it the one where
2-2 Man City?
I think it was
at home.
Yeah, because like Aguero scored like a crazy goal at the end, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I see Sam Byram, and I don't like bringing this back to Arsenal, but when I see Sam Byram, he kind of reminds me of like Xhaka, because like, he's there and he's not used, and that's just my opinion. But I just see him as like someone just kind of there, brought in to fill a role, and then not used by the manager, and it doesn't make sense to me. I think Antonio could do well at right back. I mean, he did do well at right back for like the first half of the season. I think they were playing him at right back for the first half of the season last year. But also, John, I wanted to make a note of what you said earlier about the draw against Arsenal. I think that was more of a disappointment for United. So I don't think you could consider anything a victory for them in the past 5 or 6 matches.
Oh, I didn't. I just they exactly, like that was my point. Their form isn't really up to par right now, up to snuff. And I personally don't see any reason why West Ham, if they really can just get their midfield solidified. And I think Charlie's been spot on these last few weeks. And I know we've been harping on the striker and the forward position. And I know we've been talking about the rumors about bringing in a new striker, but the service they've been getting in general. Ayew, if you watched the last game, was struggling mightily. Whenever he picked up the ball, it was by this big circle in the middle of the field. It wasn't down in the box. So I kind of fell for him a little bit when he got brought off. So that's something that they can change. But if they start bringing things in and start linking up a little bit better, if they get a little bit some good runs, and Man U can't seem to string 3 passes together either. So I really don't think this is going to be a pessimistic 2-1. I don't think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I'm going to make this my upset of the week. I really feel like this is something that could happen. And since I've been so good at picks, I'm giving you guys a great omen for this week, so you should be excited. I'm going 2-1 Man U. I think it's going to be. I think Man U might open up with somehow. West Ham will tie it up, and then in the 80th minute somewhere, we're gonna see a winner at Old Trafford. And I think this is going to be the start of something beautiful. I'm excited.
You said 2-1 Man U.
Did I? I meant 2. There's too many U's. Okay, I meant 2-1 West Ham. So yeah,
I didn't
that's my prediction.
For me, it screams a draw. I really hope I lose this one, honestly. But I think it's gonna be 1-1. I think. I don't think Man U's like as good as they're supposed to be, or they think they are, because they had a good period against Arsenal, which is a team that they usually do well against. We were at Old Trafford. We hadn't won in 10 years, so they had the mental edge over us, but they don't have any such thing against West Ham. So, and after last year's last game at the Balloon Ground, they should be down and out. So I'm not going to be as optimistic as you, even though I'll be secretly rooting for a West Ham win. I'm going to say 1-1, and that'll be a good result for West Ham still.
Key matchup of the key matchup of the game is, can West Ham attack that centre-back pairing of Rojo and Jones? I think Payet hasn't done it enough, and I don't think Lanzini's done it enough, and that's running at centre-backs and running at players this season. They did it fantastic last season. They haven't taken players, other than I think Payet's goal against Middlesbrough, they haven't taken players off the dribble and actually worked it, properly running at defenders, getting them scared. Phil Jones just come back from injury, and Rojo looks so shaky, it's unbelievable. And I think whoever starts up front this weekend, like John said, I think if you can actually link well this time, they can cause problems for that Man United back two of those two. And I can I reverse my thing? I'm not going against West Ham. I don't know why I've done that. Can I change, please? Can I go 2 on West Ham? I can't do it.
You're trying to copy me now. I get it. I've been having such great weeks.
I'm going to be there as well. I'm going to be at the game, and I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, in the back of my mind, come on United. So I can get up.
See, actually, I think West Ham's problem sometimes is that everybody tries to do it themselves. I see Lanzini try to run it in. I see Payet trying to run it in, and I feel like that's why a lot of these forwards don't get a lot of the service they should. The only time you ever see Zaza or anybody with the ball with a chance is because it was a counterattack opportunity or some mistake on the defense's end. So while I really think that yes, they should be trying to push the center backs, as you were saying, but I feel like they really need to work on creating chances within the box. Charlie, take us home with this.
Well, I'm going to start by annoying basically every West Ham fan and saying that not only am I going to change the 4 at the back, I want Nordveit to play at right back. And I know.
Just stop.
So basically, here's my thing, right? We don't have another right back. Arbeloa, as Tom said, don't know where he is, gone missing. I don't know. Maybe he got lost somewhere. I don't know. He's got Byram obviously out injured, so Antonio has to play there. I think the biggest problem for me this week is that Reed is out. And Reed is just immense, especially playing in that back 3 as the centre role. He just dominates. He's in charge of everything. He just nails it. And without that, I'm really worried. I'm really worried playing that 3 because I don't want Collins in there, because Collins, despite probably being the same age as Zlatan Ibrahimovic, looks about 15 times slower. And I just don't. Collins is prone to mistakes. I love the dude. He's got an amazing beard at the moment. Reece Oxford, I like a lot. I want to see him as much in the team as possible. Whether he's injured or not, I don't know. But I think he's too young to play that dominating role, that role in charge. And so for me, we changed the 4 at the back. We have the centre backs being Ogbonna and Kiate, who both have mistakes in them, but I'm going to trust them for this one. And then Nordwhite, purely, and again, I know everyone's going to hate me after Tottenham, but because I think he's more technically capable than Mikel Antonio is. I play Mikel Antonio as a right winger where he can drop back because his work rate is insane. That boy just runs and does not stop running. Like that second half of last season, I don't think he stopped sprinting the entire time. I don't know how he does it, but he does. I put him there to sort of deal with deep runners so he can drop back. And then I think Cresswell is just, as I said before, the best left back in the league. So that's the way I line up. And then
I have a quick question for you regarding the back line. Ogbonna, I think we had this conversation off air. We saw when, especially in the Tottenham game, and I've seen this throughout the games I've watched. His positioning, it looks like he should be playing in League One as far as the positioning goes. I don't understand it. He seems to lose his marker constantly. A lot of the goals that go in that you just throw your hands up, I swear you can go back and watch the replay. It's always number 21, Ogbonna. And I don't understand the commitment to, and I get that, he costs a lot of money. He's highly rated. He plays for the Italy national team. But I just don't understand the constant commitment to someone who, on average, concedes a goal a game. And it's frustrating for me to watch. Do you have the same sentiments, or am I off base?
I have the same. We spoke about it personally. I have the same opinion that he's positionally all over the shop. He didn't cost a lot of money, to be fair. He only cost 7.9 million or something, which in today's money from Juventus is like nothing. Especially when the other guy from Juventus, especially from the other guy from Juventus, might cost 25. Like it's not that much. But positionally, I think you're correct. He's someone if someone is running directly at him with the ball, I'm super confident. He's calm on the ball. He's strong. He's big. He's powerful. Like in that sense, I am super confident. If a ball gets crossed in aerially towards him,
he's lost every single time. The Kane goal and the Wings goal, the Wings was a fluke goal. We all get that. And the Kane goal, that was something else. But he was just so out of position, and it's just every week it's the same thing.
He can header the ball really well, but he doesn't seem to know where his feet are when the ball's running. Like when people are going in behind him, he just seems to lose all awareness of what's going on. And it is super frustrating to watch because there is clearly something there because he can do it. But just for some reason, positionally, all over the shop. But in this situation, we don't have anyone better, simply. But Reece Oxford, I again don't know where he is, but I wouldn't start him in a sort of. I'd put him in a 3 maybe on the right side, but I don't want to play Kiate in the centre because Kiate is just a madman. Like I don't know, it's going to be difficult. But the thing is, we're going to be sitting deep. We're going to be sitting deep. They're going to be coming towards us. He's going to have Pedro Obiang ahead of him. He's going to have defenders to his right, defenders to his left. In that case, I am mildly more confident. And I think Man United are going to be slightly buoyed by how well they played against Arsenal. They're going to feel a little bit more than maybe they should. Mourinho's probably going to go out for a draw because that's what he does every game, despite who. But it doesn't matter. It's just Mourinho. That's how he rolls.
Defense first.
I completely forgot. They've got Europa League on Thursday night, so it'll be telling to see if anything happens Thursday that could potentially affect them going into this weekend's game. I'll add on Ogbonna though. I also had this conversation off air and with some friends, and I've said he's looked suspect all season, and it's so uncharacteristic because of how well he played last year. And it is so frustrating to see because he almost is causing a penalty a game. And it's so like, get that ball anywhere outside of the box. Usually he's all right, but his positional awareness is shocking, and he's just an accident waiting to happen in the box. And something has to change. Like Charlie said, you cannot depend on Kouyaté as that main centre-back because he is a headless chicken when he's around and playing.
But he's played well. Can we give him credit? He's played very well since moving back.
He's played well, yes, because obviously he was a centre-back at Anderlecht, but he is a headless chicken. His work rate is immense, but it's all over the part where you just don't want it to be. You just want him to maintain that centre-back role. So I think it'll be interesting, especially with Reed out, how well Collins can command that back 5 this weekend. I think it'd be very interesting to see.
I like Collins. I believe in the Collins. Charlie, give me a score. What do you got?
Yeah, and I don't trust Collins, which is why I've gone for a back four. Shout out to Havard Northwhite. He's going to kill it. Here's how it's going to go down, right?
All right, let's hear it.
It's going to be 1-1. Deep into the game, late. Zaza picks up the ball. Little 1-2 with Payet, runs through, smashes it past De Gea. I don't even know where he's going to be. Probably talk. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The ball's in the
Not only is Northwhite starting, Simone Zaza is scoring as well.
Tom, I started this really negatively, and then you pumped me up, and I don't know why I'm going for it. It was 3-2 last week. It didn't work, which means Man United will win 2-1. I don't care. 2-1 West Ham. It's happening. It's happening. I'm going for it. It's happening.
Wow. So everybody has 2-1 West Ham except Georgia, who's got a 1-1 draw. I'll give you one last opportunity to join the rest of us.
Come on, Georgia.
I'll root for 2-1 West Ham, but I don't know. The more you guys talk about it, I'm not gonna lie. The more you guys talk about it, the more I want to switch. But
well, that's what happens. Yeah, of course. That's the essence behind talk radio.
I don't know. I'm faced with like a tough decision because it's either like we all bust or like all three of you get like an extra win.
Statistically, you should stick with the draw, but that's on you, buddy. You do what you want to do.
I mean, I'll be there. I'll be with you guys in spirit, but it's like the head over the heart, you know. I just got to go with the draw because I think that's what's gonna happen. And yeah, actually, fuck it. Yeah, excuse me. Cut that out. Edit. Actually, yeah, I'll go with the 2-1 draw as well.
Yes.
There you go, 2-1.
I love it. We're all going down together, lads. It's going to be brilliant.
Why don't you just make a crazy score? Just make it 4-1. Who cares?
6-6.
I went with 6-6 last week. Come on, let's do it.
What was the actual score of that game?
3-1. I was only 9 goals off.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you predicted some crazy scoreline, you might have been right about the Dortmund, whatever game, the Dortmund Legia Warsaw game.
8-3.
8-3. No wait, it was 8-4.
Was it?
Yeah, 12 goals. They beat like a record. They beat like a Champions League record.
I will say before last May, Man U hasn't lost to West Ham in like 12 matches. So
Since Carlos Tevez's last day antics at Old Trafford in 2007.
There you go. You nailed it. But yeah, like we were talking about before, a draw at Arsenal, 3-1 Swansea. They drew with Burnley. They got spanked by Chelsea, but who isn't these days? And then a draw at Liverpool. Man United is, what's up?
Who isn't spanked by Chelsea these days? Us.
Oh, there you go.
Also, we beat them 2-1.
George, our resident Arsenal cheerleader. Yeah, but they're not in the best of form, and I think West Ham can really go in there and make a difference. And that's what we're all going to be rooting for. So make sure you check it out. Keep it up on bracethehammer.com. Thank you for joining us for our preview episode for the weekend, and we look forward to more stuff next weekend. Take care. Everybody say adios.
Laters.
Cheers.
So long.
Okay.